When I was 7, I told my father that I wanted to be a nun. Since a young age, I've always had this fascination with faith. For me, the concept exuded its way into existence through the indomitable energy radiated by strong women. Watching Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act for the first time, imitating syndicated reruns of The Flying Nun, discovering Edith Piaf shared my birthday and how she taught me French and that, no, I regret nothing. Unlike most second graders who spent their nights dreaming about fairies and unicorns, I dreamt about martyrdom instead. I learned about it from a Luc Besson film, The Messenger, a gruesome Joan of Arc movie I'd often watched with my dad. Seeing Mila Djokovic surrender herself to the mighty and omnipotent Dustin Hoffman gave me shivers, and from then I too believed that I could communicate with God. I knew that no muscle-bound man could take my hand from my God, my God. No handsome face could ever take the place of my God. The concept fascinated me. To die for your beliefs? I thought the idea was stronger than Power Rangers, and from it I learned more than watching old reruns of Sesame Street like most kids on my block did. I was here on Earth for a reason, and damn it, I was determined to save my people. That is, so long as I can sing and dance better than Julie Andrews does in The Sound of Music while doing it. Not any nun, I told my dad, as I said to my dad as I watched him shave. I stood at the threshold of the bathroom door, my feet straddling the line between the hallway's gray carpet and the pink linoleum floor. I looked up at him with wild eyes, waiting patiently as clumps of hair fell into the sink. I was good at that, waiting. I fidgeted with the pillowcase draped over my head. It was the perfect habit, I thought. My father twisted his neck, turning toward me. Without his mustache, he looked like a different person, and I was surprised when he laughed. "You mean a monk, right?" I thought that because he was Catholic, he, out of all people, would understand my calling. I thought that he'd be totally on board and send me straight to Bible school. But looking back on it, I realized he wasn't that Catholic. No, I mean nun dad, but not just any nun. I want to live on a nunnery in Jupiter. I imagined myself fully equipped, strapped in perfectly, a rosary around my wrists, and moon shoes on my feet. I'd soar through the mountains of Jupiter, jumping high from cliff to cliff. With a twist of my wrists, I'd sprinkle a splash of holy water to protect my lands, all in the name of God. "David," my dad said, "boys can't become nuns." And we said it, I reached for my habit and pulled the pillowcase down from off my head. This wouldn't be my last attempt to discover my higher power. Being adopted at birth, I've always valued the concept of identity. My mother, the woman who adopted me, is Nishnabekwe, a strong warrior woman of the Potawatomi tribe. A very different concept, I realized, than the story of Pocahontas and John Smith. When the 1995 Disney movie came out. I knew it because I would try to get her to sing along the way that Vanessa Williams does it on the movie, and she'd often shoot me dirty looks. That's not even the real story, she'd tell me. So while she might not have shown me how to paint with all the colors of the rainbow, she has gifted me with a wonderful sense of spirituality, which has encouraged me to establish my own beliefs. My father, on the other hand, refers to himself as a liberal Catholic, which means he doesn't go to church and he doesn't pray, but he believes in the larger concepts like heaven and hell and Adam and Eve. Ever since I can remember, I've always had this hodgepodge idea of what faith really was. At the time, it existed as something I needed. As a kid, I had this intuitive awareness that in order to find what I was looking for, I had to look in as many places as I could. In middle school, I would tell my teachers and peers that my biological mother was Jewish. I told them that I learned it by way of a letter I received from her, where she explained my conception. This fabricated letter was sent from Australia, which, as she wrote, is where she was born. So my Australian and Jewish mother, I tell everyone on the first day of school, after Miss Coughlin asked for introductions, had been a foreign exchange student in high school, and she traveled to Wisconsin, where she met my birth father. While most students were terse with their answers, describing their immediate family and how they spent their summers, I unraveled a bizarre lie to capture their attention and talked at great lengths, eyes wild with amusement. I told everyone, when her school found out that she was pregnant with me, she was kicked out of the program and shipped back to Australia. But with excessive letters from my father, she was convinced to come back to the States and have me, and they would raise me and fall in love. Then, when I realized I had the attention of every girl in the room, I knew I had to step up my game. So, I continued to bullshit. She wrote that when she returned to the US, she realized that she couldn't live in America, that she missed the kangaroos, wombats, and her temple, and that she thought it would be best to give me up. To my classmates, I ended it there. What I didn't tell them was that in my world, the letter suggested abortion was completely out of the question because it wasn't the Jewish thing to do. And what I never told my teachers was how much it hurt every time they assigned a family tree. I didn't know it at that time, but for me, lying was my attempt at regenerating all of my missing branches. I kept the letter from my parents, but they believed me anyway, or at least my mother did. The story circulated a week before I told my mother that I needed to fast because it was Yom Kippur, and that I would no longer be eating pork. She looked at me and smiled. Okay, sweetie, no more pork. My fabrication spawned in something so large and so great, greater than my 12-year-old self. Soon I didn't even believe that I was lying. By days, the lies became truth, and the only time I realized what I was doing came as bedtime night pangs of guilt while I prayed myself to sleep. God knew the truth, and the only way to change this, I thought then, was to convert. The next day, I had my mother drop me off at temple. But it didn't stop there. I gave up on the Jewish faith rather quickly. There were too many rules, and I didn't know Hebrew, and that God, the old one, well, he was mean. And when I realized I needed something else, the lies started getting weirder and weaved themselves into something even more absurd. Every Sunday night, my mom and I would climb into the den and watch the television series Charmed. You know, the show about the three sexy sister witches and their battle against evil. Yeah, that one. I don't know if it was because of the power of three or the fact that every weekend my aunts, all six of them, would gather around the table with my mother and communicate with the dead, but soon I found myself buying into the occult. A Jewish pagan Australian. I told my friends in high school when asked about my biological mom. Yes, she has a hook nose. No, not from birth. She broke it during a coral reef accident. I started losing track of the lies. Friday, June 20th, 2014. I'm stuck on the essay, so take a break from writing and walk to the textile warehouse over there on 21st to buy wings for a play. I'm standing on the checkout line, my mind worming through ways of finishing this essay. The cashier, an old man with Harry Potter glasses and an Allen Ginsberg beard, he stops me. He's asking me questions. His voice is quick, quiet, and thick. What's the accent? Hebrew, I realize. But he's already asking me questions like, is this your name? And I think, DJ, but no, he's referring to my legal name, to David, the name embossed on my credit card. Yes, I smile and nod, and wonder. Then I can't exactly hear what he's saying, mainly because I have a deadline, and then when I listen, he asks me if I've ever been blessed with a tough one. And I don't know what that is, but he describes it as a black box that goes on your head. Then he asks me the dreaded question, are you Jewish? I pause. What do I do? What do I say? Yes. There's a beat. Then, your mother, is she Jewish? Well, my biological mother is... He looks at me at what I'm wearing. A blue mesh shirt. Skeptical. He's skeptical. It's funny how a lie can linger. I was adopted. You should let me bless you. It'll only take 2 minutes. We can go into the bath. You should do it with me right now. It'd be good for you. I hesitate, look at my shirt. Is he trying to save me? I have a deadline. No, sorry, I should go. Okay, next time, man. Next time. Someone offers to bless you with the Teflon. You should do it. Don't refuse. I leave. Am I Jewish? How could he tell that I was Jewish? Did he know that I was writing this essay? Was he trying to save me? Or was he trying to save this essay? Should I have done the ceremony? Why didn't I do it? I question myself these things. I was looking for, I have learned, beliefs are not dogmatic. They're flexible and will change with my body as I grow. What I have found is my calling, a devotion to storytelling, the line between fiction and reality. So if my dad were here right now, I'd argue against him and say, young boys can be nuns or witches, and girls can be popes or warlocks. We're all children, after all. Why not let us believe? Thank you.